Hi everyone, this is Mix from 16ball.ph, and today we have a detailed review on the Nike Kyrie 8 Infinity in the Balance colorway. Before we get started, if you do like the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then I'll also be leaving a link to the SNBPH Sneaker Hunters Facebook group in the description box, so I do hope you can join us over there because that is a place where we talk about sneakers and basketball quite a bit. And it's also where we have the SNBPH Steel Cabinet, where I take some shoes that I no longer use, or some shoes that I've reviewed in the past, and put them up for bidding at way below market value. Then if you haven't already, I do hope you can sub to the channel because it really does help us out quite a lot. Then with that being said, let's take a look at the latest addition to the Kyrie signature line, the Nike Kyrie 8. I was definitely surprised when the Kyrie 8 released and when I saw it on the Titan app, because it really wasn't on my radar, or I wasn't really aware that it was releasing soon. I mean, I did have an idea that it was gonna release around November because that's usually when the Kyries release, but it did kinda just stay out of sight and out of mind because Kyrie hasn't played a game yet this NBA season. If you are an NBA fan or a basketball fan or a basketball shoe fan for that matter, you're probably already aware of the Kyrie vaccination situation and why he can't play for the Brooklyn Nets. And I don't really want to get into that because it kinda gets a little toxic when you start arguing about that, but I just find it so unfortunate that we can't see Kyrie on the court, and that's not just from a basketball perspective, you know, seeing him with James Harden, KD on the Nets, but also from a hoop shoe perspective, because I really think that if he had been wearing these on court, these would have a little bit more attention thrown their way and we would be like more excited about them. Instead, it was just kind of a shock, like, oh, the Kyrie 8s dropped already, and well, I picked them up and here they are. On the flip side though, just getting all of that, you know, Kyrie not playing out of the way, the Kyrie 8 does feel like it's gonna be a pretty solid shoe. It has some really good tech specs, and it also shares a lot of DNA with the Kyrie 6, which is definitely a good thing because in my opinion, the Kyrie 6 was a really good shoe, except for the strap that it had, and thankfully the Kyrie 8 has no strap. So in my opinion, since it does seem like an improved version of the Kyrie 6, I think it's definitely gonna be a pretty good hoop shoe. One more thing I realized also is that the Kyrie 8 kind of looks similar to the Kyrie 6, and the 7 also had some vibes from the 5. So I'm not really sure if that was intentional or by accident. But anyway, going back to the performance aspect of the shoe, I do like the tech specs they use and some of the features that this shoe has. So to get into that, let's take a look at the tech specs. So starting off with the traction, the pattern on the Kyrie 8 does seem like a mix of the 7 and the 6. It looks like the Kyrie 7 in terms of like the lines that they used, because it seems to be a similar data-driven pattern. But it also is like the Kyrie 6 because it is a little bit more flat. I did try these out a bit here on my wood floors and they did grip pretty well. Of course, I will be playing in these soon, so please stay tuned for the full performance review, because I do think the traction will do well, although it might have an issue with dust since the pattern is kinda tight. But of course, there's only gonna be one way to find out. The rubber is also a bit soft, and like I said, it's not as aggressive as the Kyrie 7. So this might not be the best outdoor option, but of course here in Asia we have the EP release, and it also comes with an XDR outsole. That XDR or extra durable rubber will definitely help a little bit. Then moving on to the cushion, it was kinda hard getting the full tech specs from the internet because just like the whole release of the shoe, it kind of flew under the radar, but it actually is pretty impressive, and when I put them on, it felt super comfy. So what you have with the Kyrie 8 is a full-length foam midsole with a 4-foot zoom strobel unit and a heel zoom unit. I did say it had a full-length foam midsole because I really couldn't say for certain whether it was injected Phylon or Cushlon, but if I had to take a guess, it was injected Phylon, but it really doesn't matter whether it is Phylon or whether it's Cushlon. All I know is that it's really comfy and it does compress quite a bit. Although what does most of the heavy lifting in terms of the cushion is the zoom you find on the shoe. And here the 4-foot is actually a significant change between this and the previous Kyries, because with the previous Kyries, mainly the 5, 6, and the 7, we did get those really big zoom turbo units, which I really did like. But you know, if you did give me a choice between a zoom turbo unit and a zoom strobel unit, I'm definitely picking the strobel unit. I would pick it just because a zoom strobel unit feels so much better underfoot because it does sit right under your insole. I also appreciate that they put a pretty big zoom unit here at the heel, because for a lot of the Kyrie signature shoes of the past, we have lacked a lot of heel cushion, so it's nice that for heavy heel strikers or those who like to roll into their shot or into their stride, you have a lot more impact protection and bounce back here at the heel. Overall, I think this cushion setup is very versatile because even though Kyrie is a guard and I think this would be really good for a guard, you could easily play in a cushion setup like this if you're a wing or even if you're a big man. And before we move past cushion and traction, you still do have that curvature here at the forefoot, which is pretty standard for Kyrie shoes and is kind of what Kyrie shoes are known for because it really does help you grip even if you're like in awkward low positions like with a crossover. So yes, if you were looking for that signature curvature on the outsole, Kyrie 8 definitely has it. Then moving on to the material, I really do think this is the major upgrade from the Kyrie 7 because the Kyrie 7 did have that plasticky feeling mesh that was pretty stiff at the back, and it also had those plastic wings at the forefoot which really gave me durability problems, but thankfully enough with the Kyrie 8 they kind of scrapped that and replaced it with better materials. So for the first half of the shoe, you do have this slightly reinforced textile, and it does seem like it has a bit of plastic threading, which is there for, you know, additional support and additional durability. You also have a little bit of skin fuse that wraps around here at the top of the toe, as well as here surrounding the eyelets for additional durability. The biggest surprise though in terms of the materials is just how much leather they put on the shoe. I mean, for the whole back half, it just has this pretty soft synthetic leather that has a tumbled look to it. It's pretty thick and pretty soft, and well padded on the inside as well. You also have that same leather on the tongue, which is kind of fat. Then you also have some smooth leather here on the lockdown wings, here on the cross strap on the tongue, and here at the heel. Then moving on to fit and sizing, I did go true to size with the Kyrie 8, and it fits me perfectly well. I definitely was a bit scared that it wasn't true to size because when I took them out of the box, it looked a bit short and a bit small. But when I put my foot inside, it just fit pretty well. And this might just be because I also got my shipment of the LeBron 19, and the LeBron 19 just looks super massive, so I think it just made this look small. But I definitely do recommend that if you have a narrow foot or a normal width foot, you go true to size. And if you are a wide footer, just go up half a size and I think you're good to go. Then moving on to the aesthetic details, just like with any Kyrie shoe we've been getting over the past couple of years, it does have a lot of interesting touches and interesting design choices. So starting off with the outsole, you have this super pale like purple to almost pink outsole. And then here on the forefoot, you do have this split with this purple and lime green. You also have this cutout here at the midfoot which exposes the foam, and you have Kyrie signature on there as well. Then here at the heel, you do have the number 8 or the infinity symbol, and you also have small windows there where you can see through to the zoom unit. Then moving on to the midsole, that injected phylon is all white. Then you also have some of that pale purple rubber coming up on the forefoot. Then on the midsole as well, you do have a lot of really interesting logos and symbols here on the medial side of the forefoot. And here on the medial side of the heel, you have this weird sort of wing. I don't know if it's for aerodynamics or what, but it just looks super strange. Then for another pretty weird thing on the midsole, you do have the zoom strobel kind of protruding out with this plastic, and it looks like a fin that's kind of like projected outward, and it's definitely something that catches your eye right away when you first see the shoe. Then moving on to the upper, that textile does have a pretty unique pattern that has a mix of lime green, light blue, purple, and black. Moving on to the back of the shoe, you do have those black leather panels with a white stitched in Nike swoosh on both the lateral and medial side. You also have these random lines that are stitched in the back. I'm not really sure what these mean, but you can find them on both the left and the right shoe. You also have the Kyrie logo here at the heel, and on the tongue you do have that light blue leather, and you have Kyrie signature here in gold on the left shoe, and a sort of 8/infinity symbol on the right shoe. Then for the overall aesthetics on the shoe, initially I was really bothered by that sort of fin for the zoom strobel, as well as that weird cut of foam here on the middle side of the heel, but after a while I kinda did get used to it, and the shoe has been growing on me, especially in this colorway. This colorway does have a good mix of colors. I mean, there's some neutral colors like the white and the black, and for the colors that give it a little bit of pop, they aren't overpowering because they are just light blue and purple with some tiny bits of lime green as well as gold on the tongues. I wasn't able to talk about this in the intro, but Remember when Kyrie was kind of trashing these and saying that he didn't have anything to do with the design and that Nike's gonna release them even if he doesn't want to? Yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. I mean, there are some things that I would have changed in terms of the design, but I definitely think it wasn't half bad, and I guess this just ties into why there wasn't much hype or anticipation for the shoe. Because I mean, Kyrie did like butcher the whole marketing and the hype on the shoe on his own. But either way, whether Kyrie likes these or not, or whether he's gonna support selling them, or if he's gonna leave Nike after this year, it doesn't change the fact that I think this would be a good hoop shoe that also kinda looks good, especially on court. Then for the price, the Nike Kyrie 8 retails for 7,095 pesos here in the Philippines, or roughly around 140 US dollars. Not really sure if that's gonna be the final retail price because they haven't announced it yet for the US, and they also haven't announced the release date, but it should be coming very soon. So if you are a fan of Kyrie or Kyrie shoes and you're excited to get the 8s, just make sure to keep yourself posted on sneaker news or like Sneaker Bar Detroit or anything on Instagram or on the internet to see when they are releasing in your area and what the final retail price ends up being. If you are in the Philippines though, these are available on the Titan app, and that's where I got them, and this launch colorway is the only colorway available, but there should be others coming really soon. So there you have it guys, that was my detailed look on the Nike Kyrie 8 Infinity Balance. Once again, if you do like the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you haven't already yet, please do make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon for notifications. And as always, whether you're looking for that retail W, or if you're just itching to get the latest and greatest from Uncle Drew, then keep on hunting.